Hi, my name is Dr. Ethan Hyde. I am here at our Franklin office for Ankle and Foot Centers of America. A lot of people have been asking us, how do you figure out what type of shoes that you need to be wearing? So I'm just going to go through a couple of different models that we have here that have been provided graciously by our good friend Kimmy. And we're going to go through and talk about some of the good things and some of the bad things that we might want to look for. Okay, so this is an example of a shoe that I am not a big fan of. This is a Nike Zoom. Okay, so one of the things that I really don't love about Nikes across the board is they have a tendency to be very narrow, especially here in the toe box, which can cause lots of crowding with the lesser digits. They have a tendency to be really flexible, sometimes made with cheaper materials. It can be fine as a light training shoe, and you might be able to get away with it, especially when you're younger. But as you get older, these really aren't going to have the amount of support that you need. Next up, we have a Clark's shoe. These are actually overall not bad. I am a big fan of Clark's. This is a shoe that I would consider to be like a semi-reasonable fashion type shoe. These do okay. These can usually be partnered better with an orthotic, which I'll talk about here in just a moment. But these are not too bad. You can see there's a fair bit of rigidity, a good bit of shock absorption, not too bad. Decent amount of width in the toe box. Vionic is actually one of my favorite brands of shoes, believe it or not. They make an excellent sandal, but big thing that you want to look at these is you see how these are really rigid, no bend to them, really good intrinsic sole structure. They don't really need an orthotic because it almost feels like they actually have an orthotic kind of built into it. This is very much a sign of a good shoe. Brooks is one of the last ones we have here. Brooks is actually, believe it or not, is like one of my favorite shoes of all time. I'm a big fan of Brooks, New Balances, Hoka, some of the more rigid walking shoes. Lots of room in the toe box, great shock absorption. Unfortunately, this pair is definitely due for a replacement. You can see that they've been starting to break down. Definitely a lot of miles have been put on these ones. Obviously, anytime you have a shoe such as like an older training shoe, or maybe it's a slightly more fashionable shoe, we might want to partner these with an orthotic, okay? In my opinion, I like to think of orthotics being in 3 different tiers. Your base level tier is going to be like your Dr. Scholl's, right? You find those at Walmart and Walgreens. Those are about $20. And truth be told, this more of just like a cushiony gel pad. It isn't going to really provide you a whole lot of intrinsic structure. And if you buy decent shoes, which a lot of you hopefully are, that's not really going to be significantly better than what you already have in that shoe. Some of the orthotics that we sell here out of our office are going to be like this. I consider this to be a tier 2 orthotic. It's a higher quality prefabricated orthotic. Obviously, with that said, we buy them in bulk. We have them in every size. They are available here at our office, but you can see how they're made from a little bit more rigid materials, okay? So when you go to put your weight on these aren't going to immediately deform. They're going to be able to give you a lot more structure. Obviously, the gold standard of orthotics is going to be a custom molded orthotic, right? That's the difference between having glasses made for you versus buying them over the counter. But not everybody necessarily needs a custom molded orthotic, and I encourage you to make an appointment here today to talk about your options and to see if you'd be a good candidate to get them. Have a good day.